Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and I want to tell you all about the live content we've been doing recently. Each Monday and Wednesday, I'll be broadcasting live on Periscope, Facebook Live, and our new BBallBreakdown Live YouTube channel. So head over there and subscribe, and follow me on Periscope as well, since you never know when I'll do an up-to-the-minute show to analyze the latest NBA news. And our latest podcast is a little different. I interviewed the Oscar-nominated screenwriter of Hidden Figures. Some great insight into the creation of a great screenplay. You in? While the Toronto Raptors started out this season strong with a 28-14 record and a number one ranked offense, it never quite felt to me like they were any farther along than last year, which was good, but destined to be another playoff loss to the Cavs at best. While their defense has declined from being ranked 11th last year to below par 19th, it was their offense that always bothered me more. The effort required to make many of their shots seemed destined to produce a downturn, and what a downturn it's been over the last 16 games. Toronto has gone 5-11 in a big enough stretch that you simply cannot ignore it as small sample size. No doubt General Manager Masai Ujiri saw the writing on the wall and was able to find a trade to get Serge Ibaka, but it is unclear if he solves the issues that's been plaguing them. Let's dig into the numbers to see what those issues are. At first glance, you see that their field goal percentage has dropped 3 points, and even worse, their three-point percentage has plummeted. While a 6.5-point drop might not seem that bad, they went from being ranked second overall in this category to 27th. They're scoring almost 11 points less per game, their offensive rating has fallen off a cliff, and just like their three-point field goal percentage rank, just check where their offensive rating is over the last 16 games. The whole team has ground to a halt, slowing its pace down to the fourth slowest in the NBA. The outside shooting has always worried me, since they seem to hit quite a number of contested shots, and I always wondered if that was sustainable. Well, it's not. The Raptors take the 6th most tightly contested threes in the league by frequency and are 10th best in hitting them. But let's break out the last 16 games from the first 41. In the first half of the season, they were taking the 5th most contested threes, yet hitting them at a 40% clip, good for second. Over the last 16 games, they've taken a few less tightly contested threes, but look at where they're ranked now. That's right, 28th. And I feel it's a natural regression for guys who are shooting way over their heads for a good stretch and have now returned back to earth. So the question is, who is responsible for this decline in shooting? Let's peek at the three-point shooting first. The two players who shoot the most from distance are Kyle Lowry and DeMarre Carroll. And it doesn't take advanced analytics to see what has gone wrong. Both have taken huge hits in their shooting percentages, so let's take a look at some film to see why. First off, one look at Kyle Lowry's shooting chart and it's apparent where the troubling areas are. While he has shot better from the left wing, he's taking less of his threes from there. The right wing has dropped about 6 points, but look at his shot from the top. That's right, his shooting has dropped over 24 points from this area, and he's increased the amount of shots he's taking from this spot as well. The vast majority of his top of the key threes come from the high pick and roll, and you can see that good screen setters like Valanciunas can get him good looks. And Lowry is tricky enough and has a quick enough release to find the openings and knock down the long ball. He also has an inordinate amount of and ones from back there. The kind of play normally reserved for Jamal Crawford has Lowry getting extra points on a whole lot of these shots, one more impressive than the other. However, it appears that teams have adjusted to Lowry's high pick and roll, assuming he's just going to shoot the three more than he'll drive to the hoop. And this has allowed the screener's man to contest aggressively without fear of getting beaten. Hence, these shots have been getting harder and harder to make. As his percentage has dropped, he appears to be pressing, willing to force up shots to get on track, and it hasn't helped him improve his percentage. DeMarre Carroll's average through the first half of the season wasn't out of this world, but it was solid enough to consider him a weapon from back there. And he would get a lot of his best looks in transition before the defense had a chance to set up and guard him properly. And against a lot of bad teams, or good teams still getting their transition defense in order early in the season, this was working for him. However, as most teams have improved their transition defense with more practice and familiarity, these shots are not nearly as wide open as they were, and he's been severely affected by the defense running at him and getting a hand up. That said, even the wide open shots he's getting aren't falling either. And if you notice, he hangs in the air for a second before releasing. And to me, this is a recipe for inconsistent shot making when you try to do this from that far away. DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes very much, but what always gave me pause about his ISO pull-up jumpers that he was hitting before was how close the defenders were to his face, leading to a lot of very impressive jumpers from mid-range. However, that has finally caught up to him as well, as his mid-range numbers have sagged quite a bit. And look at the shooting zones. Just peek at the decline from the left baseline and left elbow, giving new meaning to the term DeMar DeFrozen. I also went through some lineup data, and one lineup in particular that was killing it for them through 41 games did a complete about-face. When Lowry was on the floor with non-starters Corey Joseph, Lucas Nogueira, Patrick Patterson, and Terrence Ross, they destroyed their opponents to the tune of a plus 23.2 net rating. They were both a stout defensive club and a high-powered offensive juggernaut, capable of creating separation to start both the second and fourth quarters in Dwayne Casey's usual lineup rotations. But starting in mid-January, this group has almost fallen off a cliff. The net rating is negative 14.1, and they've got the yips from all over the court. Nogueira has real struggles finishing at the rim with this group, and they also have a turnover problem, the live ball types that also hurt their defensive ratings at the same time. Worst of all, look at the comparison to the opponent free throw attempts per 48 minutes. They've more than doubled, as the defense has suddenly started giving the opponents free points. No longer is this group building and extending leads, it's sinking them in crucial moments of fourth quarters. So this could have been part of the motivation for trading Terrence Ross to the Magic in return for power forward Serge Ibaka. I imagine Norman Powell will take Ross's spot in this reserve plus Lowry lineup, but Casey hasn't really played them together at all, so it's unclear how they will do. But what does Ibaka bring to the Raptors? I think there are three main areas that can really help this team. First, in transition, where he's a real threat from all over the floor. He's still got some good speed and can beat other bigs down the floor, making you wonder if he'll play a lot of center for them. And he's not just a rim runner, he can hit jump hooks off the break, pull up from the mid-range for a nice-looking shot, or he can run to the three-point line to find wide-open threes when his man is crashing hard to protect the paint. That three-point shot will also benefit them in the half court, as he has proven to be a reliable spot-up shooter from beyond the arc. He didn't get many corner threes in Orlando, but he's shown above-average marksmanship all the way across the floor above the break, and I would anticipate plenty of pick-and-pop opportunities with Lowry. On the defensive side, he can still block shots, primarily as a help defender coming over to swoop in and erase any potential mistakes made by perimeter defenders. So let's just say there will be plenty of opportunities with this group since their defense has been pretty porous. While Ibaka should get lots of block opportunities, those same plays are also potential fouls on him. So in the end, did the Raptors do enough to shore up their issues? Does Ibaka move the needle enough to get them back in contention in the Eastern Conference? Of course, Ibaka is much better than Siakam or Polo, so he will help. But I don't think the shooting slump the collective team is in is fixed by Ibaka's presence. The only question is whether it's a normal kind of midseason slump or if it's indicative of an offense that doesn't generate easier looks. I worry it's the latter, and if that's the case, the Raptors are in serious danger of dropping down to fourth in the East, which sets them up with a second-round matchup on the road against the Cavs. If that were to happen, there's no other way to look at it than a step backwards. If Ujiri has real hopes of competing to get to the NBA Finals this year, then I suspect we'll see another move for more shooting. Otherwise, when the summer is over, we might not recognize this team.